see Frank County did baseball too.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw that.
Yeah.
Was it?
Whatever.
Read that gavel.
Ready? Okay, ready? Let's go ahead and call the meeting to order, please.
Regular meeting of Washington, Missouri City Council, Monday, June 17th, 2019, 7 p.m. Heidrich, Holtmeyer,
Here.
Obertmark,
Here.
Hatke,
Here.
Pettit,
Here.
Skornia,
Here.
Sullentrup,
Here.
Wessels.
Here.
Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Will all the council members answer if they have or have not read the minutes of the council meeting dated June 3rd, 2019? Holtmeyer?
Aye.
Obermark?
Aye.
Hatke?
Yes.
Pettit?
Yes.
Skornia?
Yes.
Sullentrup?
Yes.
Wessels?
Yes.
Having read the minutes, are there any comments or questions?
Make a motion.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Sullentrup, seconded by Obermark, to approve the minutes from our last meeting dated June 3rd, 2019. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? By your vote, you have approved the minutes. Thank you.
Approval and adjustment of agenda, including your consent agenda. You have the collector's report summary for February 2019, investment report summary, February 2019, pawn shop business license renewals, liquor license renewals, liquor license application for IB Nuts and Fruit 2 at 200 Elm Street, liquor license application for Revere SC and ENT LLC 516 West Front Street, fireworks display permit request, and a change order and final pay request for KJ Understall for the Market Street improvements.
Any questions or comments regarding these items?
Yeah, is Holly Wonderlick here?
I don't see her.
Is that the person with the applicant?
Yes. She's the new owner.
IB Nuts.
Of IBX.
Yes.
I'm just kind of curious, what are they been doing down there?
With wine, you mean? Well, they put it in their gift baskets and things
Okay.
like that.
I didn't know if you had to have a liquor license for that.
They sell Pinckney Ben
You
and
do,
stuff.
and they sell Pickney Ben things as
Okay,
well.
that's all I want to know. Thank you.
I make a
You're
motion.
welcome.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Holtmeyer, seconded by Patke, to approve the items on the consent agenda. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? By your vote, you approve the items. Thank you.
Priority items, renewal of city's property casual insurance and payment authorization.
Amy?
Good evening. My name is Amy DeBlasi with the Daniel and Henry Company. I'm sorry to all the nice young men that have to listen to me talk about insurance for just a couple of moments. We are the property and casualty insurance brokers for the city. Additional team member who handles the city count is Stacy Briggs, and I'd like to introduce her this evening. Stacy and her family live in Washington, and Stacy joined our unit this year as an account manager. She comes with a great deal of experience, and we're lucky to have her. Thank you. This year's insurance renewal features some very favorable and some flat renewal offers on several lines of coverage, in particular the property and cyber liability. The renewal also reflects 3 more difficult years on workers' compensation claims. The NCCI, which stands for National Council on Compensation Insurance, each year calculates an experience modifier. Having an experience modifier of 1.00 means you are average, the same as other industries of the same size. So this year, the city's new modifier is 1.40. That's up from 0.99. And it's reflective of the claims experience of the first 3 of the previous 4 years. In our proposal, actually on page 6, we itemize the claims total is paid by year, and the total incurred cost for those 3 years by Missouri Employers Mutual is about $471,000. So when the claims paid have exceeded the work comp premium paid by the city, then the premium does go up. When Missouri Employers Mutual calculated the city's renewal premium, although they allowed the maximum possible credits everywhere from all sources that they have available, the renewal does still reflect a significant increase. But I want to point out that the city is doing an outstanding job to curb the trend, utilizing the resources offered by MEM, and conducting regular safety training, organizing regular meetings of the safety committee, and even creating ways to incentivize safety behavior. So we predict that the loss trend will improve, and down the road, future premiums will begin to reflect the positive behaviors continuing by the city. I would also like to comment this year's property renewal offer from Chubb. So in 2017, the city experienced a pretty serious hailstorm, which resulted in roof damage at the majority of the locations. So this claim, as Mary can attest to, has been going on for quite some time, and the total amount paid by Chubb has exceeded $500,000. We anticipated Chubb's reaction to this claim would include a significant rate increase, so we were pleasantly surprised to see only a 6% premium increase from Chubb, even including our values going up about $1.2 million this year on property. Our Chubb underwriter, who's assigned to the city's account, has a very particular personal affinity for this city, and we are thankful for that. Also, as a service provided by Daniel and Henry, our loss control manager, David Winters, has recently completed several valuations of the city's buildings. So we try to work with you and the city team on an ongoing basis to make sure that your property values stay up to date. We did market the city's account for renewal, as we do regularly. We permitted travelers to take a shot at your workers' compensation, and they were $50,000 higher than Missouri Employers Mutual. We marketed the lines of public officials and employment practices. Greenwich offered to combine those two lines into one program. They gave us $5 million limits, thus avoiding the need to put those under the umbrella. And so it's our recommendation to accept that offer from Greenwich. That move saves the city $8,353. Last, I would like to comment on the auto line with travelers. The city's auto schedule has 107 units. The total proposed renewal premium is $77,614, which comes out to $725 a unit. This year, Travelers has offered a very valuable enhancement to the policy, which we feel that the city should strongly consider, and this is called agreed value endorsement. So normally with an auto insurance policy, if an auto is totaled, the client receives the depreciated value of the auto. And with the special endorsement, you're actually able to pre-select the value at which you wish to insure the vehicle. So the insurance company agrees up front that if the unit is a total loss, you'll be compensated the full agreed value. So the city pre-selected 17 of your high-value units, most of which are fire trucks, and some of which are valued at up to $800,000. So Travelers gave the city an option of this agreed value on the 17 units for a total cost of $1,281 for the year total. So for such a small premium, we thought that would be a great enhancement to add to the city's auto policy. So I'll just conclude by thanking all of you for helping us to maintain and improve the city's great insurance program, which is now well established. You do an amazing job of documenting and reporting claims and incidents, communicating with adjusters, thoroughly completing applications, keeping track of property, auto, equipment changes, keeping us up to date with new developments. So Mary, Darren, Sherry, Wayne, John, Andrea, Shauna, and the chief, and congratulations on 0 law enforcement claims for many years. Thank you for all your hard work, and we enjoy working with you. Let's make it a great year. I'm happy to take your questions if you have any questions.
I think on this workman's comp, it's like 63,000 according to what you have on here.
That's correct. The total increase was $67,000 and 62.7 was work comp.
That .99 to that 1.4, that caused that 50% jump on that?
Correct.
Any other questions or comments?
We have
lot.
taken a second look, well, we've taken several looks, shouldn't say a second, at incentivizing the employees for safety. We do have a safety incentive program, gives $100 to employees for being safe throughout the year, $50 for those that have office jobs that not as high of a risk. But we are going to be taking another look at some other things that we can go ahead and do to help those employees. The steel-toed program, you know, that's a benefit that we picked up. We're just looking at some other things that we can go ahead and do, so.
Is that why you have short time frame for this renewal?
No, it should be for a year, just like it always.
No, it says here, due to the short time frame for the renewal, staff is requesting payment authorization at this time as well.
That just means we need to pay the entire amount of right now it's $483,709 before June 30th. So we're requesting payment authorization as well tonight. And then it would increase by amounts if you include the vehicle coverage and the cyber protection.
The additional cyber.
Right.
Okay.
That's the tight turnaround.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you for explaining.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it. Any other questions or comments?
Make a motion.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Holtmeyer, seconded by Solentrup, to accept and approve the insurance authorization, payment authorization. All those in favor, signify.
Can I just
do that right?
clarify that they're approving not only the payment, but the increase as well, both increases?
Okay. So we have a motion to approve payment and to approve the increases that we just learned about, or that were just explained to us.
Correct.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? By your vote, you approve that item. Thank you.
Mayor's presentations, appointments, and reappointments. Proclamation, SFBRHS Varsity Baseball Team Class 4 State Championship.
Okay, well, I guess the baseball team comes up. Pretty cool to have you guys here tonight. You're not gonna fit on that side? Some of you may have to come over on this side. All right. There they are. Well, thank you all for being here this evening, and we're excited about providing a proclamation for you to congratulate you on the state championship. It was an exciting season, and congratulations to you. I want to thank Councilman Patke for bringing this to our attention about doing a proclamation. So anyway, it's just great to have you here tonight, so thank you very much. The Mayor's Proclamation, City of Washington, Missouri. St. Francis Borgia Regional High School Varsity Baseball Team, Class 4 State Championship 2019. Whereas St. Francis Borgia Regional High School is a participating member of the Missouri State High School Activities Association. And whereas St. Francis Borgia Regional High School participates in boys baseball at the varsity level in the Class 4 state division. And whereas Borgia High School Knights varsity baseball team compiled a 23-7 record for the 2019 baseball season. And whereas this baseball team completed for and won the Missouri Class 4 state championship, marking the first baseball state championship in the school's history. And whereas special commendation is due to team members, coach, and staff. So we have team members Owen Struckoff, Louis Eckelkamp IV, Joe Schmidt, Caleb Claycamp, Adam Molitor, Joe Perjak, Spencer Hunter, Cody Tepker, Nick Helfrich, Foster Lynchard, Tyler Stieferman, Sam Hageman, Tyler Glosmeyer, Alonzo McDonald, Gavin Miller, Blake Whitlock, Bryce Mayer, Max Myers, Josh Garbs, Jack Chassine, Will Hageman, Braden Mayer, Brandon Stallman, and Sam Glosmeyer. So team members, great. We also recognize the coaches, head coach Rob Struckoff, assistant coaches Spencer Unnerstall, Andrew Alferman, and Alex Piontek. Good job. Now therefore I, Sandy Lucy, by virtue of the authority vested in me as mayor of the city of Washington, and on behalf of the entire city council, hereby congratulate you on your first place title and extend this expression of our pride in your accomplishment and our appreciation for the fine publicity you have brought to our community by your good sportsmanship and inspired team play. In witness whereof, I have hereunto set my hand and caused to be affixed the seal of the city of Washington, Missouri, this 17th day of June, 2019, signed Sandy Lucy, Mayor. So, congratulations.
I'd really just like to thank Mayor Lucy and the rest of the City Council for recognizing our team. Also like to congratulate Claire and Adam on their state championships too. They're here tonight. Thank all the guys for being here. I promised some of them the new bridge was going to be named after them for this. That's how I got them all here, but so you might have to break that news to them. That's not going to happen. But no, it was a great season. You know, from the beginning, we thought we'd have a shot, and we made it happen. I'm very proud of these guys. They really came together as a not only state championships, but you know that's a great thing. But they're quality young men, great young men. 7 of them are seniors graduating, moving on to bigger and better things. But really, just a great team, a great group of young men. So the championship's just icing on the cake for them. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Now we'll call up if you guys want to go back to your seats or hang around a while.
Gloria.
Blue and gold. Brett Hall.
We appreciate you being here.
What's your best Brett Hall?
That was him.
Yeah.
Some people should just not have a mic.
Proclamation, Claire Ayers, Missouri Class 4 state title, 800-meter run.
Run up here.
Ah, you get to be here by yourself. Thank you for being here, Claire. Mayor's Proclamation, City of Washington, Missouri, recognizing Claire Ayers, Missouri Class 4 state title 800-meter run. Whereas we realize that participation in organized athletics helps to build character and teaches a wholesome sense of fair play and good sportsmanship among our youth. And whereas to really excel in any one sport, a young person must demonstrate, in addition to a great deal of natural ability, an outstanding spirit of dedication, enthusiasm, and hard work. And whereas a striking example of this has been brought to our attention in the achievement of Washington High School Lady J. Claire Ayers, who claimed the Missouri Class 4 state title in the 800-meter run. Whereas Claire ran a total of 2 miles that day and earned medals in all 3 events she competed in. Now therefore I, Sandy Lucy, by the virtue of the authority vested in me as mayor of the city of Washington, and on behalf of the entire city council, hereby extend Claire Ayers our congratulations and extend this token of affection and admiration with which you are regarded in this city. In witness whereof, I have hereunto set my hand and caused to be affixed the seal of the city of Washington, Missouri, this 17th day of June, 2019. Signed, Sandy Lucy.
Well, I didn't know I have to say a few words, but I just want to say thank you to my parents for being there for every single one of over 100 races that I've ran. So that's incredible, and I'm grateful for their support, along with the support of my teammates and coaches. So yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Proclamation, Adam Bell, Missouri Class 4 state title, 110-meter high hurdles.
Mayor's Proclamation, City of Washington, Missouri, recognizing Adam Bell, Missouri Class 4 state title, 110-meter high hurdles. Whereas we realize that participation in organized athletics helps to build character and teaches a wholesome sense of fair play and good sportsmanship among our youth. And whereas to really excel in any one sport, a young person must demonstrate, in addition to a great deal of natural ability, an outstanding spirit of dedication, enthusiasm, and hard work. And whereas a striking example of this has been brought to our attention in the achievement of Adam Bell, who claimed the Missouri Class 4 state title in the 110-meter high hurdles. And whereas Adam's achievement has earned him a place of honor in St. Francis Borgia Regional High School's gymnasium, being the first individual state champion since 1999. Now therefore I, Sandy Lucy, by virtue of the authority vested in me as mayor of the city of Washington, Missouri, and on behalf of the entire city council, hereby extend Adam Bell our congratulations and extend this token of affection and admiration with which you are regarded in this city. In witness whereof, I have hereunto set my hand and caused to be affixed the seal of the city of Washington, Missouri, this 17th day of June, 2019, signed Sandy Lucy, Mayor.
I would just like to say thank you to everyone who supported me, coaches, friends, family. I really appreciate it, and yeah, it was a joy running for Borgia. Yep.
I'm here to speak for Coach Figgis and myself, and thank you, Mayor Lucy, for having us here. I have to tell you about this guy. Whole sophomore year, he's injured, and he's pretty frustrated. And came back his junior year, and he started running the hurdles, and he just kept getting better and better each meet. And he was so driven to watch this guy just keep working harder and harder. And you want to see an example of when somebody sets their mind that they want to do something, this is the perfect example right here. So last year, he goes up and finishes 6th or 7th, which was it, Coach? 7th at state in hurdles, comes back this year, and that's going to be a hard act to follow, and wins the state championship. And, you know, going into that, he was 7th best time in the prelims, and he was aggravated. He was really fired up, and he said, I'm going to go out, I'm going to do the best I possibly can. And to watch him do this and achieve this was incredible. And I do want to say what a neat thing it was to run that state track meet at Washington High School. And Claire, you got to do it too. Claire, your name's on the board already at Washington. It's up now. I just want you to know that. They put it up last week. And of course, yours will be up there too. But it's pretty neat. All these guys, got to watch them do their state championships in baseball. Incredible. What a great town we have. Thank you.
Thank you all for being here tonight. You know, to see you all here and all your great accomplishments, I have really great confidence in our future in the city of Washington, Missouri, because with young folks like you out there, I know that we were on a good path to continue to move forward and continue to raise the bar here in our community. So thank you for being here tonight.
Police Department reappointments.
Okay, oops. This evening we have 3 reappointments to the Police Department. Patrol Officer Gregory Walters, Detective Nathan Pinter, and Sergeant Chad Sloan.
Detective Pinter. Officer Walters, come on forward. Step up here. Council, Sergeant Sloan is on vacation, much needed vacation, so he couldn't be with us tonight, but all 3 of these individuals have served with distinction for this department and community. I am proud to call them members of this department, and they do one heck of a job and have done so for years. They are all veteran officers. I request that you reappoint them.
Okay, any comments or questions?
Make motion.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Holtmeyer, seconded.
Sully second.
I think I heard Sully do it. So anyway, we have a motion by Holtmeyer, seconded by Sullentrup, to approve the reappointments of Patrol Officer Gregory Walters, Detective Nathan Pinter, and Sergeant Chad Sloan. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? By your vote, that you have approved the reappointments. Thank you.
Thank you, Counsel.
Thanks, guys.
Wanna make a speech? Thank you. No? No.
All right. It's good to have you guys.
Board of Appeals reappointments.
Okay, this evening on the agenda is the reappointment of Mark Kleesner and Brian Genches, and those terms would be ending in June of 2024. Any questions or comments?
Make a motion.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Sullentrup, seconded by Patke, to approve the reappointments of Mark Kleesner and Brian Gentes to the Board of Appeals. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? By your vote, you approve the reappointments. Thank you.
Board of Public Works reappointment.
We have 1 reappointment to the Board of Public Works this evening, and that's Brad Mitchell. His term will end in June of 2023.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Wessels, seconded by Holtmeyer, to approve the reappointment of Brad Mitchell to the Board of Public Works. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? By your vote, you approve the reappointment. Thank you.
Library Board of Trustees reappointments.
2 reappointments to the Library Board of Trustees this evening, Katie Dickhouse and Barbara Vollmert. Both of those terms would be ending in June of 2022. Any questions?
Make a motion.
Okay, we have a motion by Holtmeyer, seconded by Scornia, to approve the reappointments of Katie Dickhouse and Barbara Vollmert to the Library Board of Trustees. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? By your vote, you approve the reappointments. Thank you.
Park and Recreation Commission reappointment.
This evening, we have the reappointment of Sparky Steckenschneider to the Park and Recreation Commission with a term ending in June of 2024. Any questions?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Patke, seconded by Obermark, to approve the reappointment of Sparky Steckenschneider to the Parks and Recreation Commission. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? By your vote, you approve the appointment, the reappointment. Thank you.
Washington Area Highway Transportation Committee reappointment and appointment.
Okay, so this evening we have the reappointment of Dan Cassett to the Washington Area Highway Transportation Committee and a new appointment of Craig Miller, also to the Highway and Transportation Committee. Both of those terms end on July of 2022. And I'll just comment that on that committee, on the Highway and Transportation Committee, there are 2 seats that are filled by chamber members. And so both of these gentlemen are chamber board members,
Correct.
right? That's how that's made up.
Correct.
Okay, so that's where those appointments came through the chamber.
Make a motion.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Holtmeyer, seconded by Solentrup, to approve the reappointment of Dan Cassett and the appointment of Craig Miller to the Washington Area Highway Transportation Committee. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? By your vote, you approve the appointments. Thank you.
Citizens' comments.
Is there anyone here who would like to address the council on any item that is not on the agenda?
Report of department heads.
Let's give a real quick update on 2 street projects going on West Main Street. That project is concluding. We are waiting. That's the sidewalk project on the west end of town. We are waiting for MoDOT. They do a final walkthrough with any STP federal funding project. We're waiting on getting that completed. But overall, I did not hear any major negatives as far as the street closures, things of that nature. I do find it odd that we could put a sidewalk in and all of a sudden somebody hits the fence after so many years. But those things happen, so the fence is back up. But so that's moving forward. Another project you'll see on the south end of town, Beaker Studerman Road, that has started. The contractor has begun its Krupp construction, which is it was a low bid. They started removing curb and gutter. They did pour a pretty long section that holds water. They're going to start moving further towards 47 and work on getting some of that sidewalk and things poured in. That is a sidewalk component from Michelle Drive to 47, and then another sidewalk component from 47 to Fawn Drive on Beaker. So Beaker and Studerman Road will be paved by the end of summer, hopefully school time.
Are they replacing the aprons at Don Valley too as they go or not?
There are no aprons in that project to be replaced.
There isn't?
There are not.
Okay.
No.
Sidewalks on the other side of the street.
Well, I'm trying to think exactly where at on Don Valley would be, but they're required to be ADA compliant through the apron. So if there's any aprons that need to be that are not compliant, they will be replaced.
Okay.
But the sidewalk does not extend all the way through Don Valley. It actually stops at Michelle.
Oh.
And the reason for that is we didn't have right-of-way, and the grades with the driveways and things don't match up. That is an issue, and I've been kind of hitting on this in various committees and whatnot, but there's issues throughout town when you put sidewalks in on older streets. When you add them to streets, a lot of times what you see is the driveways are sloped to the back of curb, and you can't get a flat sidewalk in unless you either narrow the street. Well, that's the only way you can do it. So we are running into that on some areas in town. Kind of as we move forward, we'll just be evaluating that. So a potential one that would be coming up is the Jefferson Street project that we just put a grant application out for. It has some of those as well, so we're gonna have to do some unique things to try to overcome that. So I don't know specifically which apron you're talking about, but they all need to be.
I didn't see the project at all. It was just a.
Yeah, okay.
Any other questions? Did you have anything else?
No, that's it.
Okay.
Ordinances, resolutions. An ordinance authorizing and directing the execution of a state block grant agreement by and between the City of Washington, Missouri and the Missouri Highways and Transportation Commission.
Holtmeyer.
Introduced by Councilmember Holtmeyer.
This is an aviation block grant that provides our 90-10 funding. So anytime we have a project that comes up, we need to up this in order to get that dollars back. So every project we do over at the airport typically has 90 cents on the dollars reimbursed back to the city.
That's a long block grant.
Yeah,
And this is just for airport projects?
Yeah.
that is a fact.
Correct, right, okay.
Just for airport projects.
Any other questions or comments?
An ordinance authorizing and directing the execution of a state block grant agreement by and between the City of Washington, Missouri and the Missouri Highways and Transportation Commission. Pettit?
Yes.
Scornia?
Yes.
Wessels?
Yes.
Patke?
Yes.
Sullentrup?
Yes.
Holtmeyer?
Aye.
Obermark?
Yes.
By your vote, you approve the ordinance. Thank you.
An ordinance authorizing and directing the execution of an aviation project consultant supplemental agreement number 1, construction services by and between the City of Washington, Missouri and Crawford Murphy and Tilley, Inc.
Holtmeyer.
Introduced by Councilmember Holtmeyer.
So we've been targeting a project to restripe the airstrip and the taxiway over at the airport. Approximately 2 years ago, MoDOT did an inspection and made us aware that some of the striping and things don't meet reflectivity for the planes as they come in. No different than if you're driving on a roadway. You know, it's hard to see at night. It's the same concept. So we were working with CMT, was our design consultant, and they've been working with us on getting the bid docs and things out the door. We do have a low bid, which is on the next ordinance, but in that, they're also going to do a construction inspection. There is some panel replacement, we call it spall repair on some of the runway items. This project will require approximately 3-day closure of the airstrip. We only have one airstrip, so we have to close it to get some of the striping and things done. Once we get a schedule, which I do not know the schedule yet because it's based upon the contractor mobilizing into town, I'll start working with Sal on getting that information out to the industries and then just get the word out as fast as we possibly can. I'm very hesitant on trying to say it's going to start on July 15th because I don't know that, and with weather and everything else, I don't want to get false information out. So we'll be getting that out. This is the consultant agreement to do those inspections and such.
Any
This
questions?
is eligible for 90-10 as well.
Any questions or comments?
An ordinance authorizing and directing the execution of an aviation project consultant supplemental agreement number 1, construction services by and between the City of Washington, Missouri and Crawford Murphy and Tilley, Inc. Pettit?
Yes.
Scornia? Yes. Wessels?
Yes.
Patke?
Yes.
Sullentrup?
Yes.
Holtmeyer?
Aye.
Obermark?
Yes.
By your vote, you approve the ordinance. Thank you.
An ordinance authorizing and directing the execution of a contract agreement by and between the City of Washington, Missouri and American Pavement Solutions.
Patke.
Introduced by Councilmember Patke.
Okay, this is the low bid for that project. We did request our consultant to provide us as many different references as possible with this contractor because I'm not aware, I've not worked specifically with them in the past. They did just get out of Hannibal, they did some work there. We also verified them with MoDOT that they did some, have been doing small airport work and MoDOT felt pretty, that they haven't ran into any issues with them in the past. I obviously can't recommend it to anybody, but, so we are asking for the award of the project. It did come in approximately 15% less than what the engineer's estimate was. So that's a positive. And we did get 2 competitive bids, so I am asking you to move forward with this contract.
Any questions or comments?
An ordinance authorizing and directing the execution of a contract agreement by and between the City of Washington, Missouri and American Pavement Solutions. Pettit?
Yes.
Scornia? Wessels?
Yes.
Patke?
Yes.
Sullentrup?
Yes.
Holtmeyer?
Aye.
Obermark?
Yes.
By your vote, you approve the ordinance. Thank you.
An ordinance authorizing and directing the execution of a memorandum of understanding agreement by and between the City of Washington, Missouri, and the Missouri Telecommunicator Emergency Response Task Force.
Pettit.
Introduced by Councilmember Pettit.
Good evening. So the document that you have in your packet is simply a document that approves mutual aid for telecommunicators emergency response team. I've actually been a member for 10 years. However, this it's under new management, and they're requiring additional information from the cities that the TERT members are employed by.
So nothing new.
Do what?
Nothing new. This is
Nothing new.
Okay, all right.
No. Nope, they're just requiring extra paperwork now.
Great.
Just curious, is this something you've been with it 10 years, you say, where you've had to?
No, we have not had to be deployed at this point. They maintain a database of the types of, CAD systems that you're familiar with, the radio systems, those types of things. And if they have a need, like the Joplin tornado, whatever, they would search that database, find people who may be available to respond to that. I've never been called up for it, but just trying to get all the paperwork in order.
Anything else? Any questions? Okay, thank you, Lisa.
Thank you.
An ordinance authorizing and directing the execution of a memorandum of understanding agreement by and between the City of Washington, Missouri, and the Missouri Telecommunicator Emergency Response Task Force. Pettit?
Yes.
Scornia?
Yes.
Wessels?
Yes.
Patke?
Yes.
Sullentrup? Holtmeyer?
Aye.
Obermark?
Yes.
By your vote, you approve the ordinance. Thank you.
An ordinance authorizing and directing the execution of agreement by and between the City of Washington, Missouri, and the Washington School District for 3 school resource officers to be assigned to duty for the Washington School District.
Introduced by Councilmember Scornia.
This is the agreement I talked with you about at the last council meeting. This is to furnish 3 school resource officers in a contract to the Washington School District. The term of the contract is July 1st, 2019 to June 30th, 2020. Then the city will receive for that $133,000.
Any questions or comments?
I just have a comment that I think that in today's age, this is a great program. I speak well with the children administration and even the police officers that do it. It's phenomenal that they're there, and it's definitely a need that they're there. So I think we're happy to be able to do this, no doubt. Thanks, Chief.
Thank you.
Any other comments? Questions?
Now, Chief, is this a 12-month job or did it just 9 months?
This is based off of about 75-25. So it's set up this way because sometimes in the summer we'll do some activities at the school, but during the summer they will work the road. Like right now, they're working night shifts and day shifts on the road. But there may be an activity that comes up to school that they'll be assigned to work in June or July or whatever.
Thank you.
Do they work during the summer school like they're having summer school now?
They might work a day or two, depends what the school wants of them. If the school wants them there, we supply.
Okay. Anything else?
An ordinance authorizing and directing the execution of an agreement by and between the City of Washington, Missouri, and the Washington School District for 3 school resource officers to be assigned to duty for the Washington School District. Pettit?
Yes.
Scornia?
Yes.
Wessels?
Yes.
Patke?
Yes.
Sullentrup?
Yes.
Holtmeyer?
Aye.
Obermark?
Yes.
By your vote, you approve the ordinance. Thank you.
An ordinance amending Section 130.170 of the Code of the City of Washington, Missouri.
Patke.
Introduced by Councilmember Patke. Chad?
Good evening. Yeah, this is going over the fees and charges. We've been working on the soccer fields since this fall. We've had lots of meetings with the soccer association and the committee and everything. This is what we've come up with. Like I said, you see in your paperwork, the day games is $25 a game. Night games are $40 a game. day practices are 15, night practices are 20. For initial lining of the fields beginning of each season is $100 and $50 for relining them as needed throughout the season. And the games are considered 1 hour, is how we based it on.
Is it practices per team, or is that practice per day?
It's per use of the field, so however they schedule it.
Okay.
Usually they'll have, they mainly want to use this for their select league that they're starting, as they want to use that for them, so they have a little bit better field to play on.
All right.
The rest of them, I think they're still going to try to use other places too. Okay.
They are proposing an increase in use this next year that they've been talking with us, which we have, that's another thing we got to work out, because our fields are going to have to need maintenance. They are proposing to go ahead and step up and do some additional maintenance to go ahead and help. I think they're going out trying to get some bids
Yeah,
on
they're
some of
working on
that.
getting some bids, maybe doing some of the mowing and some stuff. I'm not sure what they're talking about, redoing some, goal bows and stuff like that. They're kind of working on to move into more of a select type of situation. We said we're really not set up for that, but we're trying to work through some of them issues. We're still at the rec level. They want to be a little higher. So we definitely have some things to work through yet.
Just in addition, they brought to the meeting that they wanted to have the fields available for practice for 40 weeks out of the year. And that's a substantial amount, and that's difficult.
lot different.
It's a lot different than what we're used to have a 2 or 3 month soccer season, so.
Well, most fields that play at that level have a staff the same size as the park staff now, just maintaining fields. So, and they have a lot more money that goes with that. But, I think this year will be we kind of said we'll see how everything turns out, and we'll go for there and see for how next season will do.
How did this soccer club, you said you met with them, how'd they feel about this?
We went back and forth, and they agree with these fields.
That's great that you did it that way, because I thought that was going to be a tough one. That's great. That's great that you worked.
We did the same thing with the ball fields, and now we're working on building fees next.
I think we got the football.
Well, football is also, we're working on that yet.
Right, that's one smaller item but we just started, the committee just met for the first time to discuss the facilities. So we're looking at changing those up as
How
well.
long have we been talking about it? The discussion's been going on for.
We've been doing this a long time, Mark. It's been a lot of meetings. But to reiterate, Mark, it was basically the soccer people came, this is their ideas. The ideas float back and forth, and it was a joint effort, not just, here's your new fee.
And we base these fees also on other cities around us, what they're charging. So we're not out of line. We're not the highest, but we're not the cheapest either. So we're right in about the middle of most of these fees.
We're coming to a conclusion. That's a big thing. We've been working on this
For years.
So.
The facilities is not.
There's a lot of gray areas in between, and there's probably going to be some issues that we're going to come up as we move forward. But at least we're moving forward, so we kind of try to get everything on the right playing field here.
Exactly.
Guess we didn't have any luck finding somebody to mark the fields.
We didn't have anybody bid for, that was mainly for ball fields. We didn't.
That was for
have
the
any
baseball. It was not
we
for
didn't have
soccer.
any-
Oh.
We didn't have
Oh,
any.
that's what I meant.
Yeah, we did not go out for bids for the soccer.
Not for soccer.
But we have somebody who's.
Yeah, well, we did go out trying to find somebody to do baseball fields.
We did. We had got no proposals back. The Little League or the youth sports baseball, they did get a couple back, but them same people did not send anything back to us.
But we're doing it in-house.
We're doing it. We're doing it in house now.
Not getting done, we're doing it in-house.
Yeah, we're doing it in house, and I think I haven't heard any really complaints.
I've heard a lot of good comments.
And it's
In the past,
assigned, it's assigned to one person, isn't it?
We have a couple people
and a
that
half.
do
Couple
it.
people that are
one
doing
main
it?
person, but we have
Yeah.
everybody
I met him
takes
the other day.
part in it.
At the end of the day, you help them finish, basically.
But no, I've heard a lot of good compliments about, as far as the ball fields. The added amenities have helped out. The boards at Lakeview have helped out in the backstop area.
Yeah, we
Those
still
fields
have one
been
more
good.
field to do yet, but as we get time, we can try to fit in. It's coming along really nice.
Good.
A lot going on.
Thanks, Chad.
Okay, any other questions, or we'll read this a second time? Okay.
An ordinance amending Section 130.170 of the Code of the City of Washington, Missouri. Pettit?
Yes.
Gornia?
Yes.
Wessels?
Yes.
Hatke?
Yes.
Zollentrup?
Yes.
Holtmeyer?
Aye.
Obermark?
Yes.
By your vote, you approve the ordinance. Thank you.
An ordinance authorizing and directing the City of Washington to accept the proposal from Canon Solutions America for new printers.
Introduced by Councilmember Holtmeyer.
Good evening. Last but not least. Included in your packet tonight is a bid summary for a printer replacement for the city.
Sounds like it's about time.
I know, exactly. Sorry, hold on.
You okay?
Ow, she pops her jaw.
Our printers are nearing about 8 to 10 years old, and the toner is costing the city on average about $200 to $250 or more per month, and some of them are even inkjet printers. So this proposal, I went through and I looked at all the printers that the city had and looked at 4 different printers, brands, Lexmark, Ricoh, Brother, and Canon, and looked at all the different printers that we had and the different stages that they were at, and we came up with 44 printers that would need to be replaced for the city. And there's 2 things that this will do. Number one, it will save us money for toner costs and also our contract with Wash PC, because we won't have as many printer issues. We're going to do a service plan, and so we'll be calling on the provider to do those repairs or whatever if needed. In addition, what it's going to do is we're purchasing some multifunctional printers, which is going to allow us, our goal is to scan in documents into the accounting software, and we've been wanting to do this for about 2 years, but we haven't had the equipment. So this is going to allow us to do that too, and we will save money because we will become basically paperless. So,
Are we going to share printers on?
yes, as much as we can. We're only replacing essential printers. You know, certain printers, like in the police department and Lisa's, have to be color, so that's the only color ones we're replacing, because the copiers that we have, they have a better per-click rate and service plan on those, so we want to continue to use those for the bigger projects, but there's certain things that for police and evidence reports that have to be in color. So we're sharing as much as we can. And also, my recommendation, just so you know, is to go with Canon. They had the cheapest per unit cost, and also in addition, the best service plan. And Scott has been real patient. He's been back there the whole time. He is here if you have any technical questions. The investment, overall investment that we're looking at right now is to replace 44 printers, multifunctional printers, is $18,377,000. We had $25,000 budgeted, so we're basically $6,000 under budget. So my recommendation.
Budgeted for like ink prior. You were talking about the cartridges and they were expensive because this includes it, correct?
Correct. Right. We wouldn't put anything out of pocket.
Okay.
Well, it's hard to say on that because it's budgeted by department,
Okay.
each department, and that's another thing that each department, now that we don't have an IT person, they used to purchase all that, it's been shifted to all the departments, and we have multitude, I would imagine we have probably at least 15 different toners, if not more. And so this will eliminate that. It will get down to like 2 different types of toners. And then also the Canon product has toner and the drum unit together. So then we don't have to try to buy those separately. So it'll try to alleviate some of that burden that's on the departments now to order all these toners.
Thank you.
So, yeah.
And this is nothing to do with printers, but our paper consumption, is that all purchased by each department?
Yes.
Okay.
I know you didn't do this on purpose, but I know we're doing 44 printers at one time. Is it advantageous of us to do that, or is it advantageous to spread this out over 10 years? I mean, obviously you need them all now, but or do we get a better price doing them all at one time?
Well, he probably can answer that, but we do get probably a lot better pricing due to the fact that we're buying them all now. But then what that does is instead of piecing together, in 3 years they might have a different unit. And that's kind of what we've done over the last 15 years with the city. We keep piecing things together instead of just buying at one time. And so then that ends up leading to problems. So it's probably better pricing wise, and also then everybody's using the same printers. There's less issues with, trying to fix them, trying to maintain them, et cetera. So, and just another little key fact, because I always like to do a cost-benefit analysis. These printers overall will pay for themselves within 3 to 4 years. So.
Thanks for the homework.
Yeah. Any other questions or comments?
So you said you're replacing only the essential. Are there going to be other printers here that will eventually need to be replaced, or these will be the only printers?
There's a handful, not very many that we won't be replacing, but there have been requests from staff, well, I want one at my desk. Well, we're not only if they really need one at their desk are we getting one. For example, in the police department even, Chief Menifee and Lieutenant or Captain Armstrong said that they really don't even need a printer anymore. They use the copier out front, so we're not replacing those. So it just kind of depends. But
Sure, to Jeff's question, if there are others that we need to replace, if this is the best way to do it, then let's
Right.
replace those now too.
right,
So-
this is the majority of them. There's a handful in police department that are tied for, and maybe Chief can explain that, but they're for like the fingerprinting machine, and they were received with the machine, so they work specifically for that. And they said, well, they're working now, so at this point in time, we don't want to mess anything up with that. So there could be maybe, I would estimate maybe 5 printers to maybe 8 throughout the whole city that aren't being replaced with this.
Like the live scan printer was part of the grant that we received, that printer with that machine. So it has to stay, and they only allow that printer for that machine. So we have to use it till it's not
Right.
used anymore. And Mary has done an excellent job at inventorying and saying, do we need this printer? Can we put it elsewhere? Can we route it to print elsewhere if we need to print? Well, the captain and I really don't need a printer. We can print it on the copier.
Sure.
Thank you.
And we are going paperless, have been paperless with the prosecutor's office, and that helps us with what she's doing to get fully paperless and continue that.
Does anybody have any other questions?
Look like-
Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Mary.
An ordinance authorizing and directing the City of Washington to accept the proposal from Canon Solutions America for new printers. Pettit?
Yes.
Scornia?
Yes.
Wessels? Patke?
Yes.
Sullentrup?
Yes.
Holtmeyer?
Aye.
Obermark?
Yes.
By your vote, you approve the ordinance. Thank you.
Mayor's report?
I just want a couple of things. A few weeks ago, we had downtown Washington had the downtown cleanup, fix-up, and they had 39 people show up that morning. It was pretty amazing to have all those people downtown helping adults, children, teenagers. It was pretty phenomenal to see how many people were working in downtown, and thanks to our Parks Department because they had everything set up in advance. So for mulching, the mulch was already there. They had the tools necessary. They did a great job of preparing for the event, and they actually could have accomplished more. They had so many people that they got done faster than what they expected. So the list might be longer next year. So anyway, it was a great morning to see so many people taking pride in our downtown and working to clean it up. And the second item I do want to mention, in the pink jacket sitting out there, is Sophie Koritz. And Sophie is a recent graduate of Washington High School. She's heading to Georgetown University this fall to major in government. That, of all things. But anyway, so she's been shadowing us here at City Hall. She was here last week, and she'll be here this week. So
Hi.
getting a kind of a taste of what's going on. So anyway, I'm going to just point her out to you. So she's been a good doobie while she's been here.
We're
Been
always
very
looking for
helpful.
police officers.
City Administrator's report?
Just 2 quick items. We did receive a proposal for the Waterworks building. And so the Parks Department, Chad, Sal Maniaci and myself will be meeting with them tomorrow morning to go over a lot of details with regards to what their proposal. If we're successful, it will be like a combination brewery along with a wine tasting with light fare, not a heavy restaurant by any means. But so anyway, we'll be discussing that with them tomorrow morning. Also, just to remind you that there is a Rumble on the River. The monster truck thing will be out in our fairgrounds this Saturday from 2 to 4. So just letting you know.
Darren, so related to your first point.
Yes.
I'm assuming the flooding is delaying, wasn't it a June or a July lease end date for the current occupant?
July 1st, they will, June 30th, at the end of this month.
Okay.
So I have not reached out to them to see what all is left that they have to go ahead and get out of there. We are nowhere near ready for somebody to just move right in anyway.
Sure.
That would be a lot of work. So if we have to, I'll be bringing that back to you if we need to extend that.
I just thought, I know at one point they'd advertise like going out of business sale, but
Right.
it's been closed for so
Right.
long.
Correct.
So, okay.
So we'll find out, and if we need to do something, I'll bring it back to you.
Council comments?
Yeah, I know Jack Brinker's gone, Briggs is gone, Bammer's gone, so nobody knows what kind of agreement was made with the KCs in their lake that somebody said the KCs was told by the city they wanted it kept for a detention pond. KCs don't want to maintain it. It's a real eyesore. So I don't, it's got to be cleaned up.
We had spoke to him once before about draining the pond, I call it, and enlarging it if they will let the city have it for a retention pond to make it bigger to hold the water back longer. But nothing really ever became of that.
Yeah, that's about 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I did some research on that. As far as was there any agreements, like paperwork agreements, I could not find anything.
No, there's
I
not
did an
been.
inspection on it 8 months ago, maybe, towards the end of last summer. It actually might have been a year now at this point. Took a look at it. It has filled in over time. It is fairly shallow. I can't really speak to the quote-unquote eyesore of it, but, there is some value in holding some of that water back in that area. That's a fact. Now, what does it look like? I don't know. We haven't necessarily done any research. I would also want to go back and check just to make sure that that detention or pond wasn't utilized as detention for any of the expansions on Borgia or any of that. A decommissioning of a piece of infrastructure that was utilized as far as any calculations before wouldn't actually be allowed, if it was identified. So I'd have to look at that too, and I've not necessarily dug into it that far. Now, most of our detention basins in town are not owned by the city. They are owned by the entities that utilize it. So, for example, if the KC did an expansion at some point and they saw that pond as part of their detention, then they can't necessarily just go, drain it and then fill it in. That wouldn't be allowed. It'd be a violation of what the original permit was. Other things, we do have the ability to require individual property owners to maintain it. So if a draining situation and a dredging was part of their maintenance, we could enforce that as well. So it's just, I don't know, because I don't know what those, if it was utilized for any detention. But I can definitely look into it. I know it was something I started looking into about a year ago and didn't come across anything specific.
And it is on KC property, is that correct?
It is, yeah, there's no
Yes.
easements. The city has no easements.
Yeah, there's no easements.
Right.
It's a situation just like we have, like John said, at multiple places around the city where there's and we've got a few that are the one that we just approved last month, I think, the one on High Street. That's an example of one that the city has always maintained and kept up.
And like I said, there is value into that for sure. I mean, to say that there's not value and that we could look into any agreement, I think there's some benefit there.
Well, I can go and say that I'm the one who said it's water retention, Greg, 'cause I've been getting the same phone calls you have, obviously. John and I are the ones that talked about this a year ago, and, we've looked at the the High Street situation and the houses below Borgia. We've talked about that many times.
Mhm.
If we take this out, we're only making
It
that
does
situation
negatively
worse.
affect the
So, I'm the one who, if I misspoke, I apologize, but I'm the one who said, it's retention for their parking lot, building, et cetera. Whether it is or it's not, that's something we need to look into a little bit more and go.
Well, I think at the end of the day, it does provide real detention value.
Right.
Now, whether it was permitted or was it just arbitrarily there for so long, a removal of that does have a detriment to the storm sewer system. That is a fact. So is there an easement? Is there an agreement? Was it part of a parking lot expansion in the past? Probably not, because I'm not aware that Borgia's really, or that the KC's ever really has done an expansion, since the detention ordinance went into effect in 2000. So pre-2000, there really was no rules, so
Would it
to answer-
enhance our retention?
It does, yes. Any time that you can store water, it enhances.
Well,
Do
we
we
got
have-
plenty of money in
do we own
the,
it?
well, not plenty, but we got money in the storm
That's a
retention
fact.
fund. I think we should look into it, just see what it would take to maybe,
I would say that there are many detention basins within the city that are owned essentially by the property owners, whether they know it or not, that if you look at one, you're gonna be looking at a
You're
lot.
going to be looking at a lot.
And I'm saying.
I would just.
I was told that there were even talks up there about giving the property to the city so they could maintain it and make it a larger detention pond.
Well, there would be a lot of people that would like to go ahead and do that.
I can name one right now that's actually underground. It's a 60-inch pipe or 48-inch CMP that's an underground detention. It's owned by a subdivision by 12 lot owners. That it's in somebody's backyard. It was never dedicated to the city, and it's been in place for 20 years now. What happens with metal pipe as they get older? They rust. Sinkholes happen. Well, when you have a sinkhole in your backyard and the detention basin that your subdivision owns, that's not the city's to go fix. So I could think of one right now, and that's probably to fix that, you're looking at $200,000 that you'd be taking on. So that's the concern, is as this kind of gets bigger and bigger, either you enforce it on the subdivision, which we've never really done before, or we take it on as our own, and that's going to you take one, you're going to get in that request across the city.
We would definitely have to take
Which
a
I'm not saying
look at if we were to go down that path, we would definitely have to take a look at prioritizing which ones we would want to go ahead and consider.
And I think
I'm just saying, we're getting more and more box stores in this town. We're getting more and more residential, and we want to expand our town. But if we're going to do that, and we talked about this before, where we need to start figuring out how we can stop this water from getting through town as fast as it's getting through town. We talked about it for, I don't know how many years now, but I think it's a good idea to go ahead and start. Well, Darren, you were involved with it back when we talked about it.
We have, the ordinances have gotten tougher over the years, I guess, to hold back. I would say the last round was probably, I remember going through it in the mid-2000s where it was just everybody wanted to pay into the fund. And it was was not very much that they usually had to pay into the fund. That's why they wanted to pay into the fund. They didn't want to give that ground up. I think John in his office, his department started a map that has all of the facilities. I would say that that'd be something that we could take a look at, bring it back to you so that you could have a better concept as to, okay, what would we be taking on if we started looking at this? And then that way we can give you, and then we can also tell you budget-wise what you're going to need to be looking at to go ahead and.
Yeah, and
It's good to work with people and try to find a better way
Oh,
to.
for sure. And that's part of, I know the mayor, organized the stormwater committee. That's part of what I envision that committee to look
Correct.
into with, I think, Steve, you're on that committee with us. So, to look into those type of items, to try to find what is the best route to go. Because we are in this transition of, building ponds and things is not really where things need to go. And the thing is, when you transition to something, it also it's not as cost effective as it used to be. So what does that do to everything else? Is it, what is the burden that you have on the individual property owners? Those type of things. So we really have to discuss those. I could think of one really small example right now when we paved the riverfront parking lot with an island that was there that we cut in. That island was back and forth was to be paved. Well, the reason why I put up such a roadblock to pave those type of things, what's the point of paving, I call paving the world, when you could gain a little bit of green space into a paved area? That's a mindset native plantings, with the medians and all those things. That's a mindset that is now, and that causes stormwater negatives. A yard has just as much runoff as what a roof does. Not quite as much, but fairly, once it's saturated, it does. When you have native plantings, that soaks into the ground. That has real life effects on people. So it's really changing how we think about that, and that does not happen overnight. And I know I'm rambling now, but.
I think what Darren
it's
said
important.
too, a good idea, as that committee looks at it, is not only to find out where they are, how many, but that idea of prioritizing, because I'm sure, there's so many, we would have to.
How do you improve them, too? High Street, the one on High Street that city owns. I mean, there's some concepts there. How do you make that better and not such a eyesore? We could do some things that could be done to educate the public and actually get better value out of something like that. So we're looking at all those things. So I appreciate you bringing it to our attention. It is
So a
on-
short-term answer to the KCs is we're looking into it.
The short-term answer to the KC is we have a stormwater committee that has been formed. We have an MS4 audit that we essentially did not pass, and that we're going to be required by DNR to look into this stuff anyway, which is to utilize those stormwater funds much more effectively. So we're looking into it. It's to dredge a pond, and the other thing is we don't own we have no property rights over them.
Right.
So, I specifically, I'm looking on a big picture item, not a specific to help the KCs at this time, but it's got to be done in an organized manner.
No, right.
Anyone else? Thanks, John. Anyone else?
Well, on a different note, I know that Packy and Scarn, I'm sure you're aware of, and Darren and whoever else is involved, but I got a phone call, and I told him I'd come up here and find out what's going on with it. The storm sewer in Don Valley we're having problems with, a couple insurance claims, I guess.
You have
Not
two-
storm sewer.
Not storm
I
sewer.
mean,
This is
sanitary
sanitary
sewer, I'm sorry.
laterals.
Where are we at with that?
Where are we at with that? Our insurance company has denied both of those claims. And that's basically it at this point.
I know I was told on just one side of the story, I want to hear the other side. There's 22 miles of sanitary sewer in Washington that the city's supposed to take care of, apparently.
I don't know what the
I don't
quantity
know
is.
the
Do you have?
specific number. I mean, there's substantially
But-
more
And,
sanitary sewer.
and I was told, obviously, this is on the city's problem. It was in their sanitary sewer before it went into his, and the black, there was two of them down there?
There was two separate backups to two separate properties. Correct.
I'm just going by what I hear, but when I think the city's negligent, I think that the insurance company should pay. I don't think we should have to tell somebody that use your insurance company, get it fixed, when we know it's our problem. And I don't know if it's our problem, that's what I'm asking.
I just basically I've talked to one property owner. Well, I did talk to two. The first one has not gotten back to me. I mean, it was the day or close to the time when it backed up. The second property owner talked to me on the phone, and I explained to him the same situation. It was not any different than what we had in Whispering Oaks about a few months ago, if you'll remember. Our insurance company looks at it the same way. The city's not negligent if they didn't know that there was a problem. It's that simple.
Well, there's one house down there, I think they had a backup 3 different times.
There's been water, we've had flooding situations where you've had infiltration with water that has gotten into it. And I'm not going to without getting in the specifics about each one of these cases, but I will tell you that the sanitary, this is the first time that we've had sanitary backup in that situation. So I don't know that, like I said, any other way I can tell you is that now that we know that if
In
there is
Don
a
Valley.
problem with maintenance, then it gets put on a routine maintenance.
Well, I think it's important that you say in Don Valley, that's kind of more of a subdivision regional thing. I mean, there's not been an issue with this specific manhole in the past.
Right.
So to say that we inspect and maintain this manhole doesn't mean that 10 manholes down the run may not have an issue either, at some point in the future. I can never tell you that. You know, but this specific incident, you can't be negligent if you didn't know. And we did not know that there was a problem. Now that we know there's an issue and we don't take the, you know, reasonable accommodations to handle it in the future, then I think the story changes a little bit, that the insurance would have a different evaluation of that.
But per our conversation last week, and the fact that if the city had been flushing out that manhole, had been going there on a routine basis, and then we stopped going there, and now we have an issue, when you were looking into what our previous documentation was, so we don't know that either. That was something else that John and I talked about. That's something that we know that we've done, and we had a maintenance schedule for that clean out. We had an issue there, and now we stopped doing it. Then that does, to me, that tells me that we had an issue.
Right.
And now we're negligent there.
We're
So
not
John's
disagreeing.
looking at.
Yeah, and I don't have an answer right
So
tonight,
we're
but I
still
don't.
looking
And we did, I mean, I will tell you, we did look, I asked Mary to go back and look at claims, and if we had any in the last 3 years. I think we went back 3 years,
Right.
and we did not have any claims in 3 years within that development. We can go back further, and I think we had discussed that.
Well, I think Darren showed me every one of those claim things, and I guess I may have misspoken the fact that people don't claim an insurance claim against the city or the insurance of the city on everything, but they see and they know that the city sends their truck down there and flush the lines out. That's their situation, that there's a problem here. The city knows there's a problem there, becomes like, they come every 12th of the month, they come and flush a line out, so we know there's an issue.
That's where things get to be a little bit weird as well. I mean, you could have had, I mean, we had a situation where there was a 5-gallon bucket of rock in a sewer line. Now, just because we go and clean that rock out, doesn't necessarily mean that we have an issue with the sewer line, other than there were things that should not be in the sewer line. So there's reasons why you go as well. So this was, I don't recall the exact details, but I think this was a root situation. So
Yeah,
we may
it
have been
was.
down there, I don't know, so I'm looking into, but let's hypothetically say we were down there 10 years ago to, clean out something that wasn't supposed to be in the sewer line. Well, that doesn't necessarily mean that we were now on a maintenance schedule to take care of roots. See, that's the thing, it's the cause is different. The effect may be the same, but the cause is different. And I'm not the insurance carrier, but I believe that's probably what they're looking into. It's really no different than Whispering Oaks. The property is at the bottom of the, if there's any issues downstream, that's the first property to be affected every single time, because it's the lowest one. That's a gravity system, that's what it does. And we proactively try to get ahead of things the way we can, but unfortunately, in situations of gravity, you have to be reactive in things, and that's kind of where we're at.
And I think we also have some legal cases that back that up, that Mark has advised us in the past, correct?
Yes. Again, and like I've told John on the phone, I'm just trying to speak for the homeowner.
I
And the fact that, if it's obvious that we're out here looking at something on a routine basis, that something's wrong, and then we stop going on a routine basis, and then we have a backup, how does an insurance company say we didn't have an issue there? So that's what we're looking into.
And that's what we're looking into, and I can tell you that if there's information that was not given to the insurance company that we come across, we obviously will forward that on as fast.
We did go back and
That's
look
not
back at all the
a question.
information the questions that were asked with regards to that was all submitted back to the insurance company, so.
That's what we pay insurance for.
Right.
Why would you not supply them with as much information as you
Right.
possibly can to make the right determination?
Could the rainwater have had effect, all the rain we've had any effect on that?
Sanitary sewers, rain will always have an effect. Now, is that the thing that caused that issue? I do not believe so.
Okay.
Pipes, stormwater pipes are much bigger.
Well, I know at
We do have
Public
some-
Works, Kevin was mentioning that a couple of the manholes did have some
Yes.
rainwater coming in.
Yeah, a lot of the older parts of town are constructed with brick and mortar. So anytime it rains, obviously,
Yeah.
water will get into that. It's called infiltration. And the sanitary sewers are not designed when you got an 8-inch pipe. It cannot pass that amount of water. So yes, that is an issue around town, but we're taking care of that with we're trying to address it as fast as we can with our slip lining and that type of
Have we done
program.
any suture farm out there?
I'd have to check into that. I do not know. That was built, was that the 80s? So that's most likely PVC. There would not necessarily be a need, but roots can get in between any joints anywhere. So I don't think we have done any slip lining out there, but I have to check on that.
You can.
Typically, you're in situ forming which is cast-in-place plastic, or cast-in-place polyurethane pipe, CIPP. But the reason why you do that is on clay pipes, because back in the day, in the 30s, 40s, they didn't gasket those pipes, so it's easy for water to get into it. That's why you line them. It seals them off.
Well, I'm not trying to put the blame on anybody.
Oh, no.
I understand.
I just, when a constituent tells you something, you at least try to follow through with it. So I'm glad you told them your side of the story.
And we're continuing to try to figure it out. That's
Right. John and I have had conversations and still looking into what we've done in the past.
All right, thanks.
Anyone else?
I have one item, though, for us in executive session.
Attorney's report, public vote on whether or not to hold a closed meeting to discuss legal, personnel, and real estate matters pursuant to Section 610.021 RSMO 2000. Edit?
Yes.
Scornia?
Yes.
Wessels?
Yes.
Patke?
Yes.
Solentrep?
Yes.
Holtzmeyer?
Aye.
Obermark?
Yes.